Welcome to the Lost in Translation podcast. I'm your host, Luis Morales, and I'm here with the queen of Mario Party, not so much of Mario Kart, Samantha Power.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Astonished that you won with a mile ahead.
On Mario Party, but definitely not Mario Kart.
The Mario Party challenge. We were recently playing some video games. We found a new hobby together. Kind of funny. We tried Mario Party Jamboree on the Switch.
Yeah.
Quite probably, if you have kids, if you know kids, or even if you like your own things as well, you will find Mario Party Jamboree is quite well known. And it was fun. It was our first time playing.
Yeah, no, it was good. I think I liked Mario Party because we actually helped each other a lot. Whereas like Mario Kart, I think it was very like it felt very competitive. So
it was super competitive, and I found a new face of Samantha that she was very rival mode, and she was like, "No, don't help me out." And I was like, "Okay."
No, it was just when in Mario Kart, when I was coming first, you were like, "Oh, I'll help protect you." Like, "Oh, yeah, I'm right behind you." Like, I'm like, that sounds really condescending. Like, just still just trying to overtake me. Like, do whatever.
No, maybe you're right. I think at the end of the day, I tried to do my best in some way, like to play like a team type of Mario Kart, but it didn't work out.
No. But I just think, like, if you were playing another guy, you wouldn't have ever said that. If,
Yeah.
Don't get distracted by Lola. I don't know, it sounds like she's trying to undo the table, but...
We know that we got a little one again on the show. Oh, my God. It's something that is going to be continuous, and we just got to ignore her because she has become... She has one of the biggest weekend, I think.
Yeah, she's been everywhere. She came
We have
to
been
us
with her everywhere.
Bunnings.
We went to Bunnings. It was great. I had a snack. A snack?
Snag.
A snack.
When you say it, it sounds like snack.
A snack. Well, I did have that, and I felt so Australian going inside.
You had your thongs on as well.
I had my thongs on, going inside Bunnings to buy things that we need.
Yeah.
I need a shovel for picking up Lola's backyard mess.
Yep.
And we bought a couple of things, and we were checking out some plants as well.
Yeah.
We ended up coming here, have some coffee, some drink, and then we ended up playing video games, and we found a little nice hobby.
Yeah, it was nice. It was something different.
Yeah, something different. And it took us like a good hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, at least maybe like 2 hours total.
Because how would you recognize that game? I think it was like it looks like a board game, but an interactive kind of.
And lots of mini games in it as well, so that was fun.
Yeah, it's like you're doing like a Monopoly type of thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how many times you can come and go around until you get stars. So basically the challenge was to get the stars, and Sammy got the most stars, and it was amazing. I love it. And I was matched with Mario.
You ended up, you matched with Mario in the end. So you were second.
So the computer was Mario, and the other one was Boo. Boo was
like,
evil.
we hated Boo.
We hated Boo. He was so evil, and his laugh. It was horrible, my gosh. But yeah, that was a fun part of the day. We also visited some friends last night.
We did, yes.
Had some dinner.
Had some beautiful dinner.
It was really good, the dinner. Shout out to Darren and Josh. It was great. And to Eugene and Catherine and Jay. We have some nice time. And the little one wants to say hello as well on the chat. And yeah, it was really good. Nice weekend. Unfortunately, I'm heading to work on Sunday. So for the next episode, heads up, I want to do it. For the next episode, we gonna actually do a remote type of interaction. So we're gonna test it out. I'm gonna call her through FaceTime, and we're gonna do this type of interaction, the two of us, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I gotta admit, we need to excuse ourselves. We didn't actually mention it before, but we had a week off.
Yes, we did.
We had a week off because it was a match between Easter and ANZAC.
Yeah.
And it's very hectic.
It was a hectic week because we were still both at work besides the public holidays.
Yeah.
And busy weeks. And I think we also just enjoyed the time off over Easter.
And ANZAC Day, for our viewers and listeners, ANZAC Day is like a Memorial Day for the First World War.
The landing of Gallipoli.
Okay, you know more, obviously. So
the Australian and New Zealand soldiers, it's to commemorate every Australian and New Zealand soldier, but it's on the anniversary of Gallipoli. So it was a battle in Turkey, and basically we were obliterated. I can't even say that word.
Yeah.
But it was basically we lost, obviously, but it was an absolute bloodbath. Like, they still went into battle probably knowing that they were going to survive.
Oh, that's something that I'm probably gonna need to read more about it. But yeah, it's a lot of people kind of commemorate that. They wake up early in the morning. I think the services start at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it's at dawn. It's at dawn,
and obviously taking in consideration that it's already out of daylight saving, so it's a darker and it's a transition to the sunrise. We didn't make it because on Thursday we wanted to go, but on Thursday I have a massive day of work.
You finished really late at night, and I think, I mean, yes, it's bad we didn't go to one, but I think you did finish really late the night before. So I think we prioritized a bit of health and, recovery, and so we could keep going.
Correct. And we took the little one for a walk, and we talked with some people on the lake as well. And they were mentioning about how nice it was and everything. So we did enjoy the weekend. It was amazing. But as mentioned, so we took that week off, but we are back with full energy, full throttle. And even though I'm heading to work on another city, I'm heading to Brisbane for a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing the interactions. And as we mentioned, so it would be first the audio format on Monday, and the video format will be on Wednesday. So we're going to get back on our schedule. And a couple of really clips of the episode will be placed on our Instagram account and our also TikTok account.
Yes, yeah.
And hopefully you guys can leave your comments and what you think about it. And if you want to add any topic or that would you like us to actually comment about our cultures and our differences, that will be lovely to have as well.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there was a big thing today, actually.
Yes. What did you do for the first time ever?
It was my first Australian elections, like proper elections, because the previous ones were like referendum.
Yes. So you voted previously in the referendum, but this will be your first election.
Exactly. It was my first elections. It was kind of nice.
Yes. We voted early, by the way. So the actual election day is this coming Saturday. So normally we would be voting on Saturday, but we can't make it to the polling booth on Saturday. So hence we voted early. Exactly.
And that's the thing that I want to probably make our topic today. So I found out quite huge differences.
Yes, I can imagine.
Like culturally massive. From the get-go, okay, obviously early elections, which I kind of trying to understand. So that's why our beautiful co-host will explain to us a little bit more about it. So
yes.
What entitles Australian early elections? What it means by that?
Do you mean early elections or early voting?
Let's start from early elections, because I was getting my head around what is the early elections.
What do you mean an early election?
Oh, well, there you go. That's my understanding.
That's what I mean.
Early voting.
Early voting. Yeah. For the election.
For the election.
So early voting. So because we have compulsory voting in Australia, voting needs to, by law, be easy. So the Australian Electoral Commission needs to make it easy for Australians to cast their vote. Mm-hmm. And obviously, so first of all, elections are on a Saturday. So most people will be on a weekend.
Yeah.
So most people can make it to the polling booth on election day. But obviously we have people that work in emergency services. We have people that work in retail. We have people that travel. That for whatever reason you can't make it on that Saturday that the election's held, you can vote. It's about a week and a half early. They have polling booths open. And you can go and cast your vote early. And you could do a postal vote as well. So you can apply early for a postal vote.
Yeah.
And they actually send you the forms you fill out and you can mail them back. But they have to be in, I think it's like the Wednesday before. They have to be received by Electoral Commission a few days before the election. So you have to be a bit organised to make sure you do the postal vote.
I gotta admit that's one of the things that probably one of the main differences between at least my country, at least to what I know from the last time I voted in Colombia. And to be fair, I just voted once in Colombia.
Yeah?
When I was in the military, you cannot vote.
Yeah, I found that interesting.
So I was denied to vote for about 10 years or more.
What's the reasoning behind if you serve in the military that you can't vote?
Well, that concept mainly applies to Colombia. I don't know if other nations does the same, but it just means that regardless who is in charge of the government, doesn't matter if it's left, right, center, doesn't matter the ideology, the military just cares about the people. So it's like basically they shouldn't be influencing the political spectrum.
Interesting.
Because most people might think that the military will be onto the conservative or the right wing, Most people will think that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is interesting because I know as a public, so I work in the public service myself. So I work for the state government. But when it comes to state elections, we are allowed to vote, obviously, and we can vote for whoever we want to. Mm-hmm. But as part of our service as professionals, we support the government of the day. So as a state employee, right now, the Labor government are in government in the state. So that would be you still support, like you basically have your professional self and your private self.
That is true, yeah. So I would say that's one of the things different from here. Plus, it was really handy to be early voting.
It was good, wasn't it? It wasn't handy. Too busy. We didn't have to wait too long.
There were more people than I expected.
Same, actually. I had to do an early vote many, many years ago for an election. I can't remember if it was state or federal, but I remember going to an early voting centre once and it was empty and I just walked straight in and there was like no one there. So I was surprised today to see how many people were there voting early.
And it was funny that there were people outside the centre and they were with different colors of t-shirts. Obviously, the green color, I knew that it was the Greens, like the sustainability, but I got a little bit confused on my head because for America, maybe Colombia, the red color means the most conservative usually.
Yeah.
And the blue color are like the democratic or the left wing.
Yeah.
But it's funny, here, I was thinking that the blue one was that.
We do the opposite. And even the name of the Liberal Party, like they're called the Liberals, but they're actually the Conservatives. So they're the equivalent of the right wing.
Of the Republicans, what it would be meaning the Republicans in America, and the red ones were the Labour,
which is more left wing.
More like
but they're like centre left. They're not completely left.
Completely left. So that was something handy to know. It was funny because we were talking about this before, and a couple of episodes before, we chatted slightly about the elections. But today, as a main topic, we really wanted to expand and that you give us a little bit more insight.
Yeah.
So I remember mentioning as well on the before that the main candidate of the blue guys,
Liberal?
The Liberal.
Yeah.
It's one guy, I don't even know his name, but he looks like Voldemort, and we're going to put it here for you guys.
Well, I think there'll be a lot of children who've watched a lot of Harry Potter films who'll be very frightened of what they're seeing on TV at night, that's for sure.
What, you're saying he looks strange, he looks odd?
I'm saying he looks a bit like Voldemort, and we'll see whether he can do what he promised he'd do when he was last running for leader, which is smile more.
It's just ridiculous. He looks exactly like him. Even the poster that they have at the entrance, because
even his political poster looks evil. Like,
evil. It looks like this.
Like, surely there was a time where like politicians were, yes, they've always been old white men, but like, surely there was a time where they looked like distinguished gentlemen. Like, he looks weird.
I'm not for being biased. I'm not saying who I vote for, because that's the funny thing. It's not like in Colombia. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring out. Another big difference is that you don't actually tick a box of the candidate. Like, let's say in Colombia it's for the president. So you tick a box for the candidate of the president. But you actually are taking like mainly for a party, and you need to expand a little bit more on that. But the reality is that it was very funny to see that the candidate who represents the party, it looks so evil. And not for say the other one from the Labour, he looks like the kind grandpa.
He does, doesn't he?
The kind grandpa that is going to fish with you or something like that.
Yeah, there's quite a contrast there, isn't there?
It is a big contrast. Both of them are bold, though. That's the funny thing. Well,
is Albanese bold?
Albanese is not that bold, but he's up there. He's getting there.
Yeah, well, he's getting on.
Okay, now let's hear from you. I want to hear a little bit.
Oh, you're going to let me get a word in?
Yes. Sorry about that. I want to hear more about it.
No, okay. But no, what do you want to know? Because I feel like you're...
So my question would be, especially really tricky, when we went to the booth.
Yes.
And when we passed, I gotta admit that the first thing that shocked me immediately is that how trusting is the system and the people.
Yes. I know when you were there, you did mention a few things and and how different it was in Colombia.
I was so surprised. I felt that they didn't even check your ID.
No, they don't. They just ask your first name, last name, and address.
Address. That's it.
And then they just check you off. Do you know they used to, oh my God, I was amazed this year. I don't know if this is how they've had it previously, but they had laptops.
They have laptops now.
Yeah. I swear in every other election I've been to, maybe it's just on election day, maybe pre-voting they do use the laptops, but on election day they've got this huge book and it looks like a phone book. And they have to flip to the name.
Old-fashioned.
And then they have to be like, okay, yep. And they cross you off.
It's so old-fashioned. And the other funny thing about that is that the overall thing was just, what's your name? The guy couldn't almost find me because I have two last names. As a Latin guy, of course. But when he was going through the system, he finally found me and he said, and I say, do you want my ID?
Yeah.
Look, I give you my ID.
And he's like, no.
Hey, it's okay, I'll find you. And he was joking about it and everything was so relaxed. There was no pressure. And even before we got in, the parties were not pushy either. Like, I didn't find the guys were dressing with the coloring. They were not pushy. They were just
they kind of just pamphlet? They offer you the pamphlet that shows you how they would like you to vote. So but you don't have to. But do you know what I read before when I was doing some research for this episode? Do you know about 50% of people do vote according to their vote pamphlets?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've always said no because even if I know which parties I'm going to vote for, I don't even take their how to vote cards because I still like to make my own decisions of what order of preferences I do. But I didn't know 50% of people actually do follow the pamphlets.
I suppose that, it felt so chill. Australian mode. Definitely it was that Australian mode with sandals. That's how everyone was dressing.
Tell us about the booths themselves that you go to.
The booths themselves, to put the perspective and put the picture to you guys and girls, the funny thing is that the booth it's just a normal like cardboard, I suppose because of sustainability as well. Cardboard system. And I was basically hanging shoulders with the old lady on my right side. With the grandma on the right side. And she was probably chatting with her husband or something. And to the point that I felt in high school.
Yeah.
I felt in high school trying to get a sneak peek of your...
What numbers are you putting down? Which one are you putting next?
That's my next question. It was really funny because I felt doing plagiarism. But no, it's basically I was trying to feel the system because they give you just these one green, like a one green kind of format, and a massive white one, very long. And I was a little bit lost at the beginning, especially because there is like a ranking. It's like you are doing imagine for everyone probably in Latin America, if you go to a restaurant and you are asking for different dishes in a restaurant. Let's say in Colombia we have el tambor, and you put they give you like a piece of paper and you put numbers. 1, 2, 3. I want this. I want one portion of potatoes, one portion of chips, and that's how I felt. I felt putting numbers, but it has a sense. It
does have a sense, and I think I touched on it in another episode about preferential voting. So that's why. And your green form is your House of Representatives, and your white paper is the Senate.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It was really funny, and could you expand a little bit, because I found myself that for the white one, they mentioned that it was, you can put 1 to 6 and 1 to 12 or something like that. I don't know.
When you're voting in the Senate, so you can vote either above the line or below the line. So voting above the line, you put your preferences for each party from 1 to 6, or you can label them all, but at least 1 to 6. And your votes will then go, like say if you vote number 1 Greens, they will do so all your votes will go to the Greens candidates first, and then all your second preferences will go to the second party you vote for. If you vote below the line, you can vote for individual candidates. So you might really like a Greens representative, so you might vote 1 for that person, but then you might go over to, you really like another Labor senator, so you can put 2 in Labor. And then you can go back to the other Greens candidate and put 3. So you're in a bit more control of where your vote is going.
Is that more specific?
Yeah, but if you're just happy to be for all your first votes to, like your votes to go towards whoever is running for that party, you can just vote above the line.
Well, the system works, and I feel that it's very it's very transparent, I'll call it. I don't like to use that word that much, because at the end of the day, it's politics.
Yeah.
But it looks more transparent for sure.
And I just want to touch on something as well, because I always remember there was one year where the Senate paper was really, really long. And I think I told you about that, how I said sometimes the white paper can be really, really long. And I was trying to figure out why. It was the first election that I had ever voted in. So I think I was 18, 19. And it was, so basically with the Senate, senators hold their seat for 6 years. So you know how we vote for the House of Representative? Okay. It's every 3 years that we have elections.
So House of Representative, 3 years?
3 years.
6 years
if
for
you're
senators.
In the Senate, it's 6 years.
Wow.
But you vote for half at a time. So only half the Senate is being re-elected at the moment. The other half are only halfway through their term.
Okay, that makes sense.
The only time where we have to vote for the whole Senate is in a double dissolution. So
Wait, what?
You ready for
blow my mind? Politics 101 Australian mode.
So yeah, the last time this happened was 2010. And what the reason this is triggered is, so if a piece of legislation gets passed by the House of Representatives, so the lower house, and it goes to the Senate.
Yeah.
If the Senate don't pass that and they reject that legislation, it goes back to the House of Representatives for changes. If they make changes to try and get it through the upper house and try and get it through the Senate, they do that. They pass that legislation again. It goes to the Senate. Yeah. If the Senate rejected a second time, then the Prime Minister can call a double dissolution, and basically the whole of the Senate needs to then be re-elected.
Oh, okay. So it's actually something major.
It's something major. It doesn't happen very often. But when it does, your ballot paper, I think it was over a meter long. That's how much it was. And that was my first time voting. And I think you have to number more boxes or whatever, because there's so many candidates and you're voting for basically all the seats are up for grabs. So, it makes sense, but it was like you had to unfold it. Like you had to literally ravel it up. That's what I remember.
But long story short, I think we took 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole process was 15 minutes.
Something else I remember you mentioning was the use of pencils surprised you.
Oh my God, that's another thing. How trusting are they? How? Tell me. This is insane. A pencil. I think they have used that so much. When I got it, because we went there about midday, I think it was.
Yeah.
The pencil was already rounded.
Yeah.
It was not even the sharpener already. So I felt really, it's so trusting regardless. I hope it is.
Yeah.
And you mentioned as well that it's a manual counting. It's not even a machine.
Yes. No, it's manually counted.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. But yeah, do you know, so apparently originally pencils, it used to be in legislation that you had to use pencils. Now it just says that they have to provide you with an implement. So, and you can use a pen if you want to. You can bring your own pen.
Oh, you can bring your own pen.
Yeah, but apparently they still just use pencils for, because they're easily stored, they work in all climates. You can sharpen them. Like pens obviously run out, harder to replace, whereas pencils, you sharpen it and you're good to go again. So.
And probably it's more sustainable as well.
And sustainable.
But it was surprising. It was one of the things. And to get it to my point, I was trying to research a little bit slightly. From Colombian perspective, just 20 to 30% of Colombians that are eligible to vote, they actually vote. Which makes me really sad. It makes me think about how important it is that compulsory voting should be actually implemented.
Why do you think that number is so low? Because
I would say that it's getting back to indifference to the system. Also, a lot of people say, oh, I'm not going to vote because it's not worth it. All the candidates are corrupt. You know, that type of mentality, something similar to what we saw in America, that a lot, actually this last election in America was low as well in terms of both count. I think it was just like 40% of the people.
Yeah. It's crazy because I think, you know, how is anything meant to change if you don't at least vote? Like that's your one thing that you have power over and, you know, but yeah. And in this election in Australia, 98% of eligible voters are enrolled.
There you go. 98. 98.
98%.
And okay, so tell me just one thing. So if you don't vote, let's say like in my case, because I'm literally going to other city and you usually are sign up into your district or in this case your council. No, it's a district. How do you call it?
Your electoral seat, like electoral.
Yeah.
What's the word? Area.
The area, basically.
Electric.
Electric. No, electric.
Now I can't even talk.
It's late. It's hard.
Yeah, I know. We're getting on.
But the reality is that I'm surprised because
so what was your question? So if you don't vote,
if you don't vote, what happens? That's basically
you get fined.
How much is your reckoning around?
Oh, I don't know. I might have to Google that.
We can probably put it here. We're gonna put it in the recents. So that's how much you get fined.
Yeah.
Which even though might not seems too much or too little, whatever. I do believe that is an incentive to people go because at the end of the day, they make the thing so easy to go on vote.
That's the thing.
That is not an excuse. Sometimes you just go, you line up for a queue to a restaurant and you spend half an hour to some people have an hour or something. Of course you will do it. And it's so easy. It was really easy.
Yeah. Also another interesting thing that I found out while researching.
Yeah.
Do you know if you are in prison, you still have to vote?
Really?
If you're serving less than 3 years.
Oh, okay. So
if you're serving more than 3 years, then I don't think you're eligible or you don't have to vote. I can't remember which one it is.
Do they put like they
must for prisoners that are serving less than 3 year sentence, you are still if you were enrolled, you still need to vote and they need to be able to help you with that.
Interesting. That's very good.
I know. I thought that was pretty amazing. And it makes sense because I guess if you're in prison for less than 3 years, you're going to go back to a society. So you have the right to have a say about that.
Exactly. I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's
very
good.
Fair enough. The other thing that I found ourselves through the election system, we were trying to get some brainstorming for the episode. And I remember that I told you, let's get into the pros.
And what?
I'm going to say, and cons.
This is my new favorite pronunciation.
Probably if it's beeping, it's because I'm pronouncing bad. So you might need to pronounce it properly.
We should probably mention the pros and I can't say it because I can't say it like you, but
I'm just
I was like, the what?
The what? Anyways, I think that's funny, the fact that I I have used that word sometimes in really serious matters
really?
at work. I'm fucking up.
Maybe, I don't know. Now I'm like doubting myself. Like, am I just hearing the dirty word?
I'm sorry.
I think because it sounds like you're putting a T on the end to me.
I'm very bad on that, to be fair.
No, I love it.
But to finalize the main topic, I gotta admit, from my personal experience and probably between presidential elections, the fact that you were doing a streamline through the Senate and the House of Representatives, which is called the lower house.
Yeah.
I believe it's a system that is easy, which makes it more appealing for people to get their opinion and to participate. But also, it's surprising how trusting the system is. I'm hoping personally. My Colombian blood is telling me, oh, what about if they fake the votes? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping because everyone's to look really chill.
Yeah.
The helpers were really
Yes.
superb. I'll say they were really nice. So
and the volunteers that and the workers that work for the Electoral Commission, like the ballot boxes that we put our thing in, they need to remain sealed. And also your votes are counted by at least 2 people, like as in they're checked by 2 people.
Yeah, correct. And as I mentioned before, I was just following your kind of example, not to be like I was copying you. I actually differ.
You
in
did
some
do a different,
stuff.
because after the first, I think 3 or 4 numbers, I was like, oh.
Yeah, you differ.
Who else could I put? Which ones? Just not One Nation and not the Trump. What are they called? Trumpet thing? I don't know.
I thought that was like an instrument, a musical instrument. But then you told me that it was the guys that are trying to
to be like Trump.
Popularize? Is that a word?
Yeah.
To popularize the Trumping type of scenario from America, which is, I gotta admit, it has badly influenced other countries. I heard the same in Italy is happening, in France in some way, and even in Britain there was some type of in Canada. Like Canada, by the way, if there are listeners from Canada, all the best as well. We are kind of on the same boat because they were on early voting as well.
Oh,
Their system
really?
kind of similar. I think Canadians and Australian system is quite similar. And they were on that as well. I think
cool.
their elections are coming through as well very soon.
Exciting.
So very exciting, very good things coming up. Hopefully everything goes well. I was really glad that I managed to do early voting. And with that, we finalized our day and came here and chill out with video games.
Yeah.
Play some Mario Party and found a Samantha competitive mode, she was like, no, don't tell me what to do. I was like, okay, sorry. I thought that you didn't play Mario Kart before you mentioned after, so it was really good.
Who hasn't played Mario Kart?
That's surprising. I'm really happy. As a Nintendo fan, I'm really happy. On another matter, okay, so the other thing that I found this week, so some episode before, I mentioned that there is a proactive, let's say there's going to be like a trivia game that we're going to do with you listeners and people that are viewing. So obviously any clips, if we are mentioning a clip in particular or something, please have a look, check out, or just go to our YouTube channel and have the episode will have chapters, so they can go directly to where they want. You don't need to watch the whole episode. But long story short, we are, and this is linked to the video that you show me, which is hilarious, but it's very linked to the trivia that we're going to come up with. So the trivia now is, I want you guys to start guessing on your comments, on your messages to our different social medias. In roughly a month, we are traveling.
Yes.
You and me.
Yeah.
We are traveling roughly a month. We're heading overseas. So the trivia now is that you guys guess where we are going and guess what will be the most looking forward activity from our side in that specific destination. I'll give you an example. If you as a listener are thinking, oh, these two are actually going to, I don't know, New Zealand, and they want to go, and the most looking forward thing that they want to do is going to Hobbytown.
I thought you said Harbour Town.
Hobbytown.
I was like, what?
Is it Hobbytown? Hobbytown?
Yeah.
Hobbytown. So Hobbytown.
Still sounds like you're saying Hobby Town now.
I don't know. Can you say it for me?
Hobbiton.
Hobbytown.
Yeah.
Okay, Hobbytown. The Lord of the Rings, basically. That's an
I'm
example.
sorry. I don't tease him. I'm just
No, that's the reality of our lives. But I love it. I don't mind it. That's the thing. That's why we're lost in translation at the moment.
Yeah.
And so that if you guess right the destination and you guess the destination is more than enough. If you guess the destination, I will send to you guys, whoever gets right, I will send to you guys a professional photography that we will take from the destination, an art photography, full-on size photo. As guys probably I mentioned before, I'm an amateur photographer, a fanatic. Most of our printings around the house are my photos, and I'll probably send you one that it will be signed by both of us, and it would be something that we would like to do. So from the destination, so it would be something marvelous that it would be just unique for you. You can use it for your house, and yeah, it would be awesome. And we will love it. And probably we will try to do more often activities like this and trivias. But in the next 3 weeks, so each episode, we will try to see any comments or messages that we received related to the trivia. And we will try to narrow it down and give before we actually kind of roughly we're heading on that episode. After we arrive back from, we will announce the winners. Even if it's 2-3 people, maybe. But most likely, the person who will receive it is that guess the two things. But that's one of the part of the trivias. And another thing that I wanted to mention, related now with the clip, is that on that matter, when we're doing travels...
Yes. We switch roles. We switch roles.
We switch roles.
No, at home, I'm a certain person. On holiday, I'm a different person.
Okay. Kind of things. So at home, she is kind of a boss. She's the boss.
I'm the organizer.
The organizer, the planner, the meal planning, everything.
Yeah.
On traveling, on tourist mode, I'm the one who does everything. And we have the example here. So check it out. The video is actually related to this.
This is our favorite video of the week.
Yeah, favorite video of the week. It's a very funny couple. And we will just play it now.
My name is Samuel and I carry all the bags.
My name is Darshan.
My name is Samuel and I plan the itinerary and navigate the routes.
My name is Darshan.
My name is Samuel and I plan the aesthetic cafes.
My name is Darshan.
My name is Samuel and I take the photos and videos.
My name is Darshan.
How crazy. They are so funny.
So,
and you have been following their tracks as well.
Yeah, I feel like I keep seeing them on my TikTok now. Like after seeing that first video, like I'm sure that's just made them blow up.
Yeah.
But yeah, at home, I'm Samuel. On holidays, I'm Darshan.
I'm Darshan.
Honestly.
We probably...
I don't even carry the bags on holiday. I'm definitely Darshan on holiday. I can't wait.
You're like the meme that has been like a couple of years or something. There was a meme about that, like a baby going with a little bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
like at the airport when you're just like, I don't know where we're going.
I don't know where we're going.
And it's funny though, because we completely swap roles, I think, when we're on holiday.
It is. It's like my brain switch on when we are on traveling mode.
Yeah, you do the directions, you carry the bags, you've booked all the hotels, you know where we're staying, you know the activities, you have the tickets for the activities, you know exactly how long it's going to take to get there. And I am just...
And that reminds me that when we were in Japan last time, you were like, I don't know, if I miss him, if we get lost.
Oh, if we got separated, I had no money. Like, often you were carrying the passports. I didn't know what hotel we were staying at. I would be so sus if I was lost, because if I had to even speak to like police or officials, I'd be like, I don't know.
There you go.
When are we leaving? I don't know. I don't know when I'm leaving the country.
There you go. And that's the thing. So yeah, that was our favorite funny video of the week. It was it was hilarious. I love it. Yeah. It's one of those things that a lot of people, I think, kind of relate. There is someone always.
There's always a Samuel, and there's always a Dash.
Even within your friends, I know a couple of your friends.
You know which category they fall into.
I know. We Sammy has a couple of friends that they are really good friends of her, and I can see her husband. They're hilarious, the two of them. He's like, I'm Dash.
I'm Dash. Yeah. She would be Samuel.
But anyways, it was lovely, and again to see you. That we are kind of here connected. Thank you so much for explaining the elections in Australia and how different it is from the rest of the world.
And I hope I didn't make any mistakes. If I did, I'm sure people will let me know.
Yeah, just place the comments. At the end of the day, it's like a science, politics.
Yeah, and I am not a political commentator or anything like that. So, I am. Yeah, pulling some stuff off the top of my head and some stuff from the Australian Electoral Commission website.
Exactly.
So, hopefully it made sense what I said.
Correct. And I enjoy it regardless. It was really easy process. And at the end of the day, we are finishing the weekend. The week ahead is coming over. Traveling again. And by the way, when we will be traveling, we will still film.
We'll still film.
We will still film. And we will be putting even more stuff in our Instagram, so it will be fast. So if you haven't, subscribe, follow to our all our socials that we want to put up here, and Lost in Translation, SNL.
On
and
everything.
To finalize that matter, you know what else we did this week that we forgot to mention?
What?
We watched Lost in Translation.
Oh, we did! Yes! I don't get how that was such a famous movie.
Well, that movie won a NASCAR.
I don't know how. It was the most boring movie I've ever watched.
It was director of story or something.
Really?
It was not boring. It was not that boring. It was slow. I'm going to admit that it was slow.
I was bored.
You know what I will say just to finalize the episode? The movie actually, I believe it didn't age well.
Maybe that was it.
That was the past because that was back in 2003. Yeah. Right after 9/11 and everything. Yeah. Which traveling was really, not many people travel. Yeah. And I think Japan and itself, because Lost in Translation is related to, if you haven't watched it, which I believe a lot of people have, this movie is related to a kind of an actor that goes to Japan and he kind of finds all the wackiness. And it's like the parallels of two lives. Like the girl as well, she's like the wife of a photographer, and he's just finding themselves in this really kind of a strange, wacky world. But in reality, in today, modern era to 2025, Japan is so much tourism is going to Japan that there is not that cultural shock that they kind of portray into the movie.
I think a lot of the scenes that were meant to just be like weird and wacky, like the arcade and, you know, the karaoke and like stuff like that, I was just kind of like, this is normal. Like,
there's karaoke in Australia as well.
Yeah.
And we have arcades in Australia as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. So maybe it just didn't age well for me, but I don't know. I don't know. It was one movie that I actually really didn't enjoy.
It was funny. I was looking forward to that movie, but I gotta admit that I felt a little bit bored as well in one point, especially the first half was really slow. But anyways, that's the end. No more. I'm not gonna extend anything else. Thank you for watching, for hearing us on Spotify and Apple podcasts. And also, if you haven't checked it out, check out our YouTube channel, Lost in Translation SNL. Once again, don't forget to comment, tell your stories, send your messages, give us some hints to see where we are steering this boat. All the best. Have a great week ahead.
Bye.
Take care.